Yo, RX back with another breakdown of UFC 303 Pereira versus Prochazka 2 International Fight Week. We back with another breakdown and of an amazing fucking card from top to bottom, 13 bangers. I can't wait. International Fight Week's always a fucking gem to the earth, and this one is no exception because this is a card gifted to us by the gods. If 300 didn't happen this year, this would easily be the best card of the year because, I can't even put into words how good this card to an extent. Like, the early prelims are great, the prelims are great, the main card is out of this fucking world. This card's gonna be amazing, and I know people are upset. No Connor, who gives a fuck? It's not 2016 anymore, move on. Like, the card got better. Like, what are we complaining? Well, what are stupid people complaining about? No one gives a fuck about Connor. Go watch Roadhouse. Only time you're gonna see him in a fight, quotation marks. So, we're here to watch real fighters like Pereira, Prochazka, Ortega, Lopes. Guys who swooped in and saved this card from being a complete joke. Cause it kind of sucked under Connor. Losing Connor hurt it. Now it got better. I can't wait. This is a real International Fight Week. Maybe the best International Fight Week ever. I would have to look back at the older cards. The last one I can remember, what was last year? Was that, yeah, that's Vulcan Yair, which that card was fucking insane. So, if this card can be as good, fuck, even 80% as good as 290, I believe that was, we're in for a fucking treat, man. So, let's sit back, relax, listen to me talk for way too long about 13 fights. And get ready for International Fight Week. So, before I do, please like, comment, subscribe. 100 subs goal by the end of 2024. Thank you so much for 55. What? 55 subs plus the recap for Saudi Arabia got like 480 something views. Thank you so much. It means more than I could ever express. And thank you. That's the simplest thing I can say because I could talk for 10 days about how grateful I am. So instead of me doing that, let's just keep going and going and going. So without further ado, you want to break down 13 great fights? I do. International Fight Week has begun. And so has the breakdown. As we have 13 fights, and of course, as always, we start on the early prelims with a fight in the men's bantamweight division. As we have a insane fight to begin the night. What a great fight! As we begin the night with Ricky Simón versus Vinicius Oliveira. Does the fight make any sense? No. Is it an amazing fight? Yes. Is that all that matters? Yes. Is it a fucking insane way to start the card? Yes. A guy who is not ranked anymore, but is borderline, if they're the top 20, would be ranked, in Ricky Simón versus Oliveira, who is a highlight magnet. This is gonna be fun. Let's begin to break down. And the first fighter we talk about is a guy who a lot of people know, which is rare to say on the early prelims, as we begin with Ricky Simón. Ricky in the UFC is 8-4, very pretty much a veteran at this point, 2018 to 2024. His wins are Merab Dvalishvili, that's an insane debut win. Montel Jackson, Ronnie Yaya, Ray Borg, Gastano Perelio, Brian Kelleher, Rafael Assunção, and Jack Shore. His 4 losses are Uriah Faber, Rob Font, Song Yudong, and Mario Bautista. Wins wise, he has some really nice wins under his belt. To start your UFC career with a winning streak of Merab, Montel Jackson, and Ronnie Yaya, that's pretty good. Then you also add Ray Borg, Assunção. He fraud checked Jack Shore, the first guy to do that. Dude's a fucking Ricky Simón, very, very good fighter. Happy he has got his flowers over the last couple years. He got the main event against Song Yadong, got ranked, been a very just good fighter. And even on a 2-fight losing streak right now, we still know Ricky Simone's a very good fighter. He's very young still, only 31 years old. And yeah, man, we all like Ricky. I always like seeing Ricky fight. I think he's a very good fighter. I did not know he was on the Contender Series in the past. So, but yeah, like he has a lot of good wins. Like I said, Merab is an insane debut win. So, but his losses, none of his losses are bad. Faber, that was weird. That was a very weird fight. I kind of think the pressure got to him, and that was in Sacramento. The crowd was loud. I think the pressure got to him to an extent with that fight, and that's why he did get KO'd in 46 seconds. Rob Font, I don't think he really recovered from that Faber fight yet. Really quick recovery. He'd beat Font. He'd beat Font right now if they fought. So Font's not a very good fighter. And then his last 2 losses, Song Yadong and Mario Bautista. He lost to 2 of the best guys in the fucking division. Song Yadong is Song Yadong, and he was the favorite going into that fight. I told people that was fucking insane. And Mario Bautista, very good fight. Bautista's just one of them guys, dude. He's really finding his stride now. Kind of like Ricky did from 2020 to 2022. So, and like in both these fights, he didn't look bad. He looked fine against Song Yadong. He looked very good against Mario Bautista. He's just fighting really good fighters, and this is the first time he's fighting a step down in a long time, probably since Brian Kelleher. Like, cause even even a Sun Tzu was a ranked guy. Jack Shore was an undefeated prospect. So this has been a hot minute since he's got a step down competition. Even then, Oliveira, a very hyped up KO artist. Ricky Simón doesn't get any easy fights. I think he likes it that way. So, yeah. Again, Simón's a very good fighter. We know what he's trying to do. He wants to wrestle. His main game plan is to chain wrestle, keep taking you down and wear you out. Simón does have a very good gas tank. He does have a very shaky chin. He is a good striker. Like, his striking is not terrible. He has good power in his hands. He's a very stocky fighter. Kind of like the Chandler build, but a little shorter. His chin is definitely his weakness. Been KO'd twice in the UFC. Been dropped a bunch of times, but he is a very good fighter, been ranked for a reason, and he's a veteran at this point, so he has a big opportunity here to open the card, kind of taking Oliveira to school, and we'll see if he's able to do that. So, but yeah, we know what Ricky's gonna try and do. Let's see if he can do. If he does, if he tries to strike here, he might end up on a highlight reel, but if he goes in here with a wrestling game plan, we're in for a really intriguing fight. Because his opponent is the very hyped up prospect Vinicius Oliveira. Vinicius in the UFC is 1-0 coming out to Contender Series, where he got a vicious left hook knockout, maybe the KO of the Contender Series last year. And then fucking in his UFC debut, he might have got the KO of Max Holloway did happen. The second best KO of the actual year against Selpaj, and one of the best fights of the year. So yeah, Oliveira is a great fighter, very good on the feet, very, very powerful, very long, 5'9", 70.5 inch reach advantage. His weakness is definitely his ground game. Selpaj was doing very good on the ground versus Oliveira, but it has been a couple months. Let's see if he has gotten that ability up a bit. And plus Selpaj was a very short-nosed fight, so he really did not have a lot of time to train for Selpaj. And Selpaj is just a great fighter in general. That kid, I can't wait to see him back in the cage. But Oliveira is very good. Very hyped up prospect, as we see why he's fighting Ricky Simón in his second fight. 28 years old, not coming from a very big gym. I thought he was a fighting nerd. I was proven wrong. No one comes from this gym outside of him. So, but 16 KOs, you see why he's in this fucking fight. He's a very hyped up dude. And I'm very intrigued to see how he does here. Very, very, very big test. Opening a pay-per-view card. Not the pay-per-view, but opening the card of the pay-per-view against a former ranked bantamweight. This is going to be Oliveira's time to shine. Either he shows up or shows out. So, again, we know what he's going to try and do. He wants to stuff the takedowns and keep it on the feet, and if he can do that, we're in for a really intriguing fight. But if he can't do that, we're probably in for a pretty boring fight. So he's very big. He's a lot bigger than Ricky. 3-inch height advantage. Oh, only an inch reach advantage. I'm a little shocked by that. Gonna be an interesting fight. Very interesting fight. And an amazing fight at that to begin the card. Again, to begin the card with this kind of fight, like, this could be a co-main in the Apex. I know that's a low bar, but if we are booking an Apex card with a little bit of dignity, this could easily be an Apex co-main. So this is an amazing fight, and it makes sense for both. Not really. For Ricky, it doesn't make much sense. For Oliveira, it makes no sense, to be honest. Cause I thought about that sentence and then I really thought about it. For Ricky, why is he fighting a guy in his second UFC fight? For Oliveira, why is he fighting a guy who's borderline ranked? But at the same time, if Ricky wins, he gets back on track after a 2-fight skid, and for Oliveira, if he wins, he gets a ginormous fucking boost from 57 on Tapology to top 15 level. So it's gonna be a great fight. It's gonna be a great fight, and we know what they want to do. Ricky wants to get to the ground. Vinicius does not. So we'll see whose game plan is better. The betting odds for this fight have Ricky Simón -225 to +185. I get it. I don't know if I agree. I would probably have Simón maybe down to -180. Like, I agree. Ricky should be the favorite. He's the more experienced by a mile. He's the fought way better competition. He's etc. But I definitely think there's some flaws in that. Vinicius is very good, and I don't know if we've even seen the best of Vinicius again. Sopaj did come in on very short notice, and again, just how good is Sopaj in general. So, and then the main question that comes to mind is, let's say, wherever this fight takes place, and I've brought up this analogy before, and I think it's a perfect analogy for fights like this. What do you think is better, Ricky Simón's striking or Vinicius Oliveira's ground game? I would say Ricky's striking is better than his ground game, but I think Vinicius' striking compared to Ricky's ground game, Vinicius' striking is scary. He's powerful, he's athletic, he's good. He's really good, and he's a scary fighter. Ricky, veteran, but his chin is weak. That's the main thing with Ricky. His chin is very fucking soft. So it's gonna be a great fight. We're gonna see a lot of questions answered about Vinicius, maybe even Ricky at this point at 31 years old. We're gonna see a lot. And who do I think is gonna win? To be honest, this is my classic saying that I started like 2 weeks ago. I'm gonna keep saying this because I think it's a perfect way for some of these fights. Flip a coin and pray. I don't think you really can pick this fight wrong. If you tell me you're picking Ricky, I get it. If you're telling me you're picking Vinicius, I get it. I don't think if neither one of these guys I would be like, oh, how are you picking him, blah blah blah. I think it's more, I would like to hear why, but it's definitely not because I think you're insane. So who am I picking? Something's giving me a vibe about Vinicius. I'm getting a vibe that he could win this. I don't know why. I'm just getting a vibe. I feel like I could just see him fucking uppercut or a knee or some bullshit to clip Ricky and put him out cold. So, I don't know. I'm just getting that vibe. And Vinicius can't, Vinicius' gas tank ain't the strongest, but he can fight into a second round. Ricky's gas tank is very good, as we've seen. He's won a lot of decisions. So it's a chess match. This is gonna be a very intriguing chess match. And who do I think's gonna win? The vibe is Vinicius. I don't know why. I'm just getting this weird vibe that he could just come in here, start the card, knock Ricky silly, and shock a lot of people. So give me Vinicius Oliveira. As of right now, that's what I'm feeling. I think Vinicius is just gonna come in here. He has good kicks. He has good striking. He's a better striker. Stuffed takedowns as a taller fighter. I don't know why. I'm just getting a weird vibe from Vinicius. I feel like he could win this. I don't think he's gonna get fraud checked here. And even if he did lose, it would be a lot like Ikram. He would have to lose in some devastating fashion to call me for me to call him a fraud. So if he lost a 30-27 decision, just getting wrestle fucked, then it would just be shitty UFC matchmaking. But if he gets like flatlined here, then yeah, he's got fraud check. But I don't think he's gonna fucking finish. So I don't know. I'm leaning Vinicius, but now this fight's giving me vibes of Jack Shore and Ricky Simón, but Ricky's the favorite. Give me Vinicius Oliveira. I think the kid's going to be hungry. I think he's going to be ready, and I think this is going to be a big night for bantamweight prospects. We got Payton Talbott later on the card. So give me Vinicius Oliveira by knockout in the. I'm feeling the second. I feel like I don't think he's in. I think he's going to fight smart in the first round, then he's going to time his shots and get that kill shot. So give him Vinicius Oliveira by knockout in the second. Not confident in the slightest. Might even change the pick, you never fucking know. But as of right now, I'm leaning Vinicius by knockout in the second. Just I don't know why. I'm getting that vibe he might fucking come in here and get the upset. Start the card, no less. But again, when Ricky's been backed against the corner, he's showed up and showed out, so never know what's gonna happen. As of right now, I'm leaning Vinicius Oliveira by knockout in the second. Who fucking knows, so let's just start the card for banger. Oliveira, knockout in the second. After that, we head to our second fight of the night in the flyweight division. A very easy fight to predict. That's definitely not going to take 16 minutes to break down. As in our second fight of the night, at flyweight, we have Carlos Hernandez versus Ray Tsuruya. I believe that's how you say it. You don't say the T, kind of like Arman Tsarukyan. So I think it's Ray Tsuruya. So, see, I learn very quickly. Just like people might have to be learning his name very quickly as well, because, yeah, I think we know how this fight's gonna go, but I'll break it down a little bit anyway. So, let's start with Carlos Hernandez, the worst fighter on this 303 card, but that's actually not the worst thing to say about him, because have you seen his fucking card? So, yeah. Carlos Hernandez in UFC is 2-2, coming off the Contender Series where he did get a contract. For his 2 UFC wins, he's beat Victor Altamirano and Denis Bandar. And for his 2 losses, he's lost to Al Nascimento and Tatsuro Taira. For his 2 wins, he's beat 2 bad fighters. Victor Altamirano will never be a world beater, and Denis Bandar is terrible. He got robbed of a knockout. I'll never forget that. And then for Nascimento and Taira, he lost to amazing fighters. Like, are you going to be upset that he got beat by Tatsuro Taira, a guy who's probably going to be a champion? Or Al Nascimento, who's extremely underrated because he does not fight? So, I'm not going to fucking shit on it. Plus, he fought 3 times last year, which I don't fucking remember. I remember breaking down all these fights and watching them, but I swear they felt like they were years apart. But, yeah, Hernandez is like the most average fighter in the world. He's a fighter. He can strike, he can grapple, he's never gonna be a fucking ranked guy, and he's never gonna beat anyone good, but he's always gonna just be a fighter. He can beat your Denis Bandars and your Victor Altamiranos, but he's never gonna beat your Al Nascimentos and your Tatsuro Tairas. So, and I think he's old. Yeah, only 30. He's 30 years old. He's just not good. Compared to a lot of the great fighters at flyweight, especially since flyweight's getting very strong. So, again, he's a fighter. He's not bad at anything. He's just not good at anything. He's a fighter. So, I think we know where I'm going with this. If you look at who he's fighting, the record of who he's fighting, the betting odds, I think we know where I'm going. So, let's just get over to his opponent, Ray Tsuruya. It's going to take me a minute to get that right. So, but let's get to Ray Tsuruya. Ray is making his UFC debut. He's the only debuting fighter on the card tonight. He did come from the road to UFC where he did win it, I believe. Did he win it? Was this a tournament finale? Bullshit, whatever it's called. Yes it was. Ray, very good fighter. I did watch that fight. He looked amazing. Now I'm going to try Jin Shuwei, I believe is how you say it, or something along those lines. Very good grappler. He wants to get you down and fucking maul you, and usually he does. He does that very well. 4 submissions, 4 TKOs, and 1 decision. He got 2 finishes on road to UFC. He's very good. He's a very good fighter, 8-0. He's very young. I think he's, what, 24? 22? Kid's good. Kid is very fucking good, and he's looking like he could be one of them ones. We're gonna need to see how he does in his UC debut. This is pretty much a layup for him, so we'll see how he performs. But if he shows up and shows out here, we're going to see a lot. I don't remember really seeing any of his striking, but I did not watch much of Road to UFC at that point in time. So we'll see, but in this fight we shouldn't really have to see much of his striking. He should be able to get a takedown very fucking easily. So we'll see what he can do here. Dude looks to be pretty fucking good, man. I think he I don't know if he trained with him, but I think he does. Does he train with like Rinya Nakamura and shit? I swear I heard some shit like that. Maybe people are just comparing him to Rinya and all that. I believe that's what. I think they're comparing him to Rinya Nakamura and Tatsuro Taira. So take that as you take that as you will. So yeah, Tsuruya looking like it could be a real prospect at only 22 years old. Never know. The betting answer is right. Have Ray Tsuruya at -400 to +310. From what I've heard and seen, especially knowing Carlos Hernandez, yeah, that's probably the right odds. Hernandez is the bigger fighter. He is 2 inches taller with an inch reach disadvantage, and he is the veteran here. He has fought under these bright lights before. I believe he has fought in front of a crowd before. I don't remember. Actually, might not have. So, but yeah, I think we know what the UFC is doing here. Even though Tsuruya did step in on short notice for Cody Durden, but that was like a month or 2 ago. So I'm intrigued. I'm really intrigued to see Tsuruya. Of course, I'm picking Tsuruya. I'm not a fucking idiot. I don't think he's gonna lose to Carlos Hernandez. Like, Hernandez is a fighter, and he is a fighter Tsuruya should beat. So I think Tsuruya is just a better fighter. From the little I've seen and the lot I've heard, Tsuruya should be able to pretty much walk through Carlos Hernandez. So Tsuruya is probably he is one of the 3 guys I would say you could call a lock on this card. So he's not my lock. I think I have the same lock as everyone on this card, because I think that betting odds will fucking tell you who that is when we get to that fight. But yeah, Tsuruya should win this fight. The only question is how. Well, we're talking about a guy with a great ground game, and Hernandez has been submitted 2 times in UFC. So, and Hernandez is tough. He is a very tough fighter. Why did I say he's been submitted once? He's been submitted. Oh no, he did get KO'd by Tatsuro. I forgot about that. He did get finished by Tatsuro Taira. I thought he got submitted. My bad. I'm on Ray Tsuruya. How do I think he's gonna win this fight? Fuck. It's pretty much pick your poison for Hernandez. Do you want to get ground and pound, or do you want to get submitted? How has Tsuruya won these fights by submission? Rear naked choke, guillotine choke. What's the other one? Kimura. I'm leaning Ray Tsuruya by submission in the first. I don't see him getting a TKO. I think Hernandez is very tough, and he will be able to fight out of a ground and pound, but I think he'll fight right into a guillotine or a naked choke, what have you. So I'm gonna go Ray Tsuruya by submission in the first. I think he what are people thinking? Submission, yeah. I'm gonna go Ray Tsuruya by submission in the first. I think it's just gonna be a mauling. Again, pick your poison for Carlos Hernandez. Do you want to get TKO'd or submitted? I'm going to say he gets submitted. We're going to find out Saturday night. But I'm going to go Ray Tsuruya by submission in the first. Very close fight. My bad. That's just some typical thing I say for a fight. It's a fucking super one-sided fight. It's a build-up fight for Tsuruya, a good debut fight, and a showcase fight more than anything. So, Ray Tsuruya by submission in the first is what I'm leaning. Pick your poison, Hernandez. After that, we head to our 3rd fight of the night in the heavyweight division. A legend's on display, probably for the last time. As in our 3rd fight of the night in the heavyweight division, we have the honor of watching the legend Andrei, the Pitbull Arlovski, fight Martin Budays Buday. 45 years old. Holy shit, Andrei. Why are you still here? Yeah, the fact we're getting Andrei Arlovski on a fucking pay-per-view prelims in 2024, I don't know if I'm shocked or not. But, yeah, it's cool and not cool to still see Arlovski fighting because he's so fucking old. Like, so fucking old. So, but yeah, I think we all know what's gonna happen in this fight. It's kind of sad, but I'll still break it down a little bit. So, without further ado, let's talk about the legend himself, Andrei Arlovski. I'm not gonna say much because what I would be here for fucking 12 years talking about all he's done. Motherfucker is 34 and 23. He's had fucking cut it in half, and he's had more fights than a lot of fighters. So, yeah, and then UFC 23-17-1. God damn. Arlovski was having a nice little fucking career resurgence, but during the pandemic in 2020, winning 6 out of 7, yes, against terrible fucking fighters: Felipe Lins, Tanner Boser, Sherman, Felipe, Vendera, and Collier. And yeah, in the middle of that, he did run into Tom Aspinall, but he was on a nice career resurgence. That Collier win was very fluky, but it's Andrei Arlovski, we'll give him a break. Then he had to run into a rough patch again. Well, Dontel Mays, Marcos Rogerio de Lima, and Waldo Cortez Acosta, 3 guys that just embarrassed him, beat the shit out of him, and yeah, pretty much did whatever they wanted to him. He is fucking so old. He should have retired like 5 years ago. The dude's 45. The only other fighter I can think of who's fought at this old of an age is Alexei Oleinik, who I wonder if I can find him real quick. I forget how you spell his name. There it is. Oleinik's the only guy I can remember fighting at this old of age, and I would have loved to see Arlovski fight Oleinik. Yeah, 45, and we know how Oleinik's career has been going. So, we know, like, it's heavyweight, you can fight to a very old age, but after a while it's like, dude, enough is a fucking enough. Like, we all respect Arlovski, we all love Arlovski, a fucking legend of legends. Retire, please. Like, I've heard this might be his last UFC fight. He's already in talks with another promotion, PFL. Which, good. Go make a payday in PFL. You're not going to be fighting as high-level competition. You're going to get a nice payday. You might even win some fights because PFL has no fucking talent. So, go make some nice money and don't take hard fights. But, fuck, like, in UFC, enough. Please, we've seen enough. We all love you. We all respect you. Dude, you're done. Like, his chin is gone. His cardio is gone. His movement's gone. He's never been a grappler as is. Like, he just can't go anymore. So, 45 years old, on a 3-fight losing streak, fighting a dude way younger than him. He's been KO'd 8 times, pretty much twice in his last 3 fights. Lima did drop him. Andrei, we all love you, but fuck, man, hang them up already. I hope this is his last fight, because again, he should have retired 5 fucking years ago. Like, dude, enough is enough, man. Please. And then to talk about his opponent, Martin Buday. Buday in the UFC is 4-1. His 4 wins are 4-1 coming off Contender Series. His 4 wins are Chris Barnett, Lucas Brzeski, Jake Collier, and Josh Parisian. So really he's 3-2. And his 1 official L in the UFC is to Shamil Gadzhiev in his last fight. Buday's a terrible fighter, but he still levels and levels and levels above a 45-year-old Andrei Arlovski, which is sad. Buday's a terrible fighter, though. He's very slow. He has no cardio. He has no movement, no athleticism. His main strategy is cuddle you against the cage. Maybe he'll fucking try and get a finish. It's rare, like he did against Parisian, but Parisian is just that shitty that I think anyone could get a finish against Parisian. and he lost to Lucas Bresky, which I know Bresky just got a win, but still. So, and like, he's just a terrible fighter. He's just big. He's just a fucking ginormous dude at 6'4", 645, so he's cutting weight to make the weight class. Like, he's just a big dude who's a little bit strong and can just cuddle you against a cage very easily, especially these lower level, smaller guys like Barnett and Collier. So, he's a terrible fighter, but he should beat Andrei Arlovski, which is fucking sad that Martin Buday is going to be Andrei Arlovski's last fight. Hopefully, last fight. Fucking shame, man. Fucking shame. The betting answers I have Martin Buday at minus 280 to plus 225. It's a shame that I think those are low. Buday could be minus 4 to 500. 45-year-old Andrei Arlovski. Are you fucking kidding me? If Buday loses this, you gotta cut him. You lost to a 45-year-old man who can barely fucking take a punch. Like, Buday should win this so easily, it's sad. So, it's probably gonna be boring. It's probably gonna be boring. It's either gonna be boring or sad, depending on how it goes. It's gonna be sad either way, but probably gonna be pretty boring at the same time, so. Yeah, Buday is just a terrible fighter. Arlovski's old as dirt. It's a terrible fight. To be honest, it's a terrible fight. But, yeah, the novelty of seeing Arlovski is kind of gone after a while, and it's pretty much gone at this point, so. Depression. Of course I'm going Martin Buday. Of course I'm going Martin Buday. I'm not a fucking idiot. Yeah, Buday, Tsuruya, and the actual lock of the night are the three people who I think are the locks of this card. If that was your parlay, it's not a good parlay because you're not going to make a lot of money, but fuck, it's pretty much the safest parlay I've seen. So, yeah, Buday should walk away for win here very easily, and I'm leaning he gets a finish. 45-year-old Andrei Arlovski. Like, I know he lost by decision in his last fight, but Eduardo Cortez Acosta was just running away from him for 3 rounds. So, I feel like Buday might get a finish. He's bigger at this point in his career. He's better at this point in his career, which is sad. I'm leaning Martin Buday by knockout in a second. I think you don't need to hit Arlovski hard to knock him out. And I think he's going to be able to land that shot to knock him out. Buday's not got to finish a knockout in a long time since the Contender Series a couple years ago. But he has a little bit of power in his hands, and if he can throw any of that into Arlovski's chin, he should be able to get a finish. So I'm going to go Martin Buday by knockout in a second. I believe. I don't think a first round, Buday's not a quick finisher or a quick fighter like that. So, but I think a second round, maybe a late first round finish, early second round. They're both going to be tired by that second round, but he might just be able to break Arlovski. So I'm going to go Martin Buday by knockout in a second. It's going to be sad if he really does finish Arlovski. Even when he wins, it's going to be sad. Like, Buday is trash, and it's sad that he is like leaps and bounds above Arlovski in 2024, so. Legends get old, man. Martin Buday by knockout in a second. I fucking hate to say that. Pain. Sorry, Andrei. And now to close out our early prelims, we have a battle of veterans in the women's strawweight division. Another OG of the fight game that should retire. So, right here, there's a few fucking OGs on this card. There's one more coming up in a little bit that we'll talk about. But for right now, we have this one to talk about, so let's get into it. As for our featured early prelim, we have the Karate Hottie Michelle Waterson-Gomez versus Gillian the Savage Robertson. Yeah, speaking of old needs to retire, Michelle Waterson, why are you still here? Yeah, she is fucking washed. I'll get right into it with Michelle Waterson. Same thing for Arlovski, just a little bit turned back because, yeah, she's old as fucking needs to retire, and she's on a worse losing streak than Arlovski. She's really lost, what, 4, 5, 6, 7 in a row? Because this was a complete robbery. She's really lost 7 in a row. Like, she's gonna break Tony's record and BJ's record if she loses this, which she probably will. So, yeah, like, She's 38 years old. She's clearly lost a step, not like she was a good fighter anyway. And, like, she's on a 7-fight losing streak, or should be. Even if you fucking pretend she beat Angela Hill, it's still 4. So, and she's still fucking ranked. UFC fucking loves Michelle Waterson for no reason. She's never been good. She's never been good. Her fucking nickname is stupid. And she's a terrible fighter. Like, what's her career highlight? Beating Paige Van Zandt in the shittiest main event of all time? Like, her career, when you think of her career highlights, you think of her getting her ass beat by Rose, by Marina Rodriguez, by Amanda Lemos. Like, she's terrible. And I love that Marina Rodriguez fight. That was so fun to watch. This overrated UFC fucking, like, this UFC crush, get fucking crushed, was lovely. So, sadly, she's not gonna get beat that badly in this fight, but she's still gonna lose and get her ace L in a row, and hopefully get cut or retire. She's terrible. She can throw some cool fucking side kicks. Woo. Fucking stupid. To talk about her opponent, Gillian Robertson. Gillian in UFC is 10-6, a veteran at this point. She's not even fucking 30 yet, I don't think. Some of Gillian's wins are Emily Whitmire, Mai McCann, Veronica Hardy, Sarah Frota, Courtney Casey, Poliana Botelho, Priscilla Cachueta, Marina Akapova, Pereira Rodriguez, and Poliana Viana. For her losses, Mayra Bueno Silva, Macy Barber, Talia Santos, Miranda Maverick, JJ Aldridge, and Tabitha Ricci. Yeah, Gillian Robertson is like the most obvious fighter to predict on the roster. She's either going to, if she can't get you to the ground, she can't beat you. She's never won a fight by striking. It's always been ground and pound, or a submission, or just ground game in general. She's never learned how to strike. That's why she has 2 TKOs. That's it. And she's a terrible fighter. Like, she's a terrible fighter. When it comes to grappling, she's great. Gillian Robertson is an amazing grappler. But when it comes to fighting, like actually fighting, she's god-awful. Like, but again, you gotta respect her on the ground. She's scary. And she's really been on a nice streak as of late. And 3-1 in her last 5. 3-2 in her last 5, I mean. Her only loss is to JJ Aldridge, which was years ago, and Tabitha Ricci. And she's beat Akapova, Rodriguez, and Viana. Yes, terrible wins, but it happens. And now she's getting a ranked fight against Waterson, who's like ranked 13th or some bullshit. So, yeah, and for only being 29 years old, all that veteran experience under her belt on a hot streak, this is a pretty good fight for Gillian. Should be an easy win. If she can get the takedowns, which she should be able to, she should win this pretty easily. She's not gonna win on the feet, but just get on the inside, clinch fucking Michelle up and take her down. Should be a pretty easy night in the office for Gillian. So we'll see if it really is. She's only lost to good, like, if you notice the theme of her losses is to people who either A, can fight with her on the ground, or B, are better than her on the ground. So, Barber, Ricci, Santos, all people who are better or can go there. So, Michelle Waterson is neither of those things. So, yeah. The betting odds for this fight have Gillian Robertson -200 to +165. I would move Gillian up to -300. She should win this fight easily. If she can get on the inside and get takedowns, she should win. Plus, she is 2 inches taller, an inch reach advantage. Fucking 9 years younger, coming off a win and not one of the worst beatings in UFC history. This should be an easy night in the office for Gillian Robertson. Like, she's a better fighter at this point just because her ground game is 10 times better than anything Michelle can do. So, give me Gillian Robertson in a little bit of, like, a kind of a big fight in the strawweight division. Gillian is going to get, I don't know if she's ranked right now, but if she's not, she's going to get ranked or just climb the rankings, and she's going to probably be the last fight of Michelle Waterson's career because either she's going to get cut or retire. So, Yeah, again, should be an easy night for Gillian Robertson, and I'm gonna go Gillian Robertson by submission in second. Get takedowns, tire Michelle out and sub her. Maybe even a first round submission, maybe even a TKO if we get lucky. But I'm gonna go with Gillian Robertson by submission in second. Should be a very easy night for her. What the fuck does Michelle have for her outside shitty karate kicks? Nothing. Gillian Robertson by submission in the second. Very confident. I don't call her one of the locks because I don't think she's on the level of confidence for like Ray and Buday, but I do think she is close to being a lock. So Gillian Robertson by submission in second. Pretty easy. I don't even know. I was gonna say don't do this, but what the fuck could she do that would lose her this fight? Just go have a striking match. She's not gonna do that. So Robertson submission in second. So those are the early prelims. Very good early prelims. We start with a banger. We got a good showcase fight for a prospect, and then some OGs getting beat up. Sucks to see, but it has to happen. But very good early prelims. Fucking better than most Apex main cards. And yeah, now we go on to the prelims, which are very, very good. Fucking actually insane, to be honest, for a fucking prelims. And we begin with one of my favorite fights on the card because I'm a big fan of one of the guys in this fight when Tapology actually feels like loading. There they are. As in our opening prelim, 41.5 minutes into the video, we go back to bantamweight for another showcase fight as we have Payton Talbott versus Yanis, the Desert Warrior Ghemmouri, I believe how you say it. Do I need to say much? No. But yeah, I will break down this fight a little bit, because I'm very excited for this fight, because I'm a ginormous Payton Talbott fan, and I'm very excited to see him in front of a crowd, so let's get right into it. And we'll talk about first on these prelims, Payton Talbott. Payton in UFC is 2-0, coming off Contender Series. Can this guy has pretty much looked flawless. Actually, pretty much is a fucking, it's an understatement. He has looked flawless. He, in his UFC debut, he beat Nick Garry, looked great, and then in his last fight, fatality, he fucking murdered Cameron Simón. Like, to do that to a dude who was hyped up like Simón a year ago is insane. And Simon's a good fighter. He made Simón look like a fucking amateur who's never had a fight in his life. Like, I don't even need to say much. This kid's the future. Like, whatever you think about his personality, I don't give a fuck. This guy is the fucking future. His striking is one of the most crisp, one of the best fucking strikers I've ever fucking seen. Like, give it a couple more years, he might be in those conversations with O'Malley and Holloway and blah blah blah. This dude's striking is unreal. His ground game's good, his cardio's insane. Like, the cliche saying that was said for Sean O'Malley works here too. What is that thing? Payton Talbott is that thing. That kid's the future, man. To talk about his opponent, Yanis Ghemmouri, he's a sacrificial lamb, we all know it. Yanis in UFC is 0-1, coming off the UFC debut where he lost by nutshot to William Gomez. Pretty much, this is pretty much the UFC debut, since that was a short notice debut against a fucking can like Gomez who kicked him in the dick to win. So this is pretty much his UFC debut, especially down at his weight class of bantamweight. Yeah, I feel bad for him because he's gonna get fucking embarrassed here. He's a sacrificial lamb, and I think he even knows it. So good luck, Yanis. You're gonna need it. I don't even know what he could do to win this fight. He's worse than Payton everywhere. His striking is worse. His ground game is worse. His cardio is worse. He's gonna get fucking embarrassed here. But at least you're gonna be on a pay-per-view. You're gonna be in a lot of highlight reels. So if that means anything, good for him. The bang-ons for this fight have Payton Talbott on minus 16,000. Some, I looked earlier, he's up to minus 2,000 on some bookie. I think like even 25,000. It's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, god damn, man. Like, Payton Talbott, I expect to be a big favorite here, but I did not expect quad digits. And I'm a Payton Talbott fan. When I first saw this, like, at the beginning of the week when I looked at the odds, I was like, what? Like, goddamn. I get it. I fucking get it. Like, do I agree with it? No. I would have him, at most, maybe, like, minus 800. Like, of course, he should win. This is a fucking layup fight against a guy who's not even half as good as him. And he's probably going to fucking win easily. What, minus 16,000? Like, I can't remember the last quad-digit favorite we had. I don't even think Charbullet was that big of a favorite last week. So, like, I would have to really think about the last favorite we had that was that fucking ginormous. Bo Nickel, I believe, against Cody Brundage, I would say. Yeah, I think it's Bo Nickel. Which, yeah, understandable. Do I think Payton Talbott's as good as Bo Nickel? Maybe. Goddamn, this kid's that good. I don't know, I don't need to say much about this fight. Payton Talbott's gonna win. He's one of my favorite fighters in the UFC. He's the future, and he's going to fucking look amazing. The hardest question about this fight is how does Talbott win? Fuck. Fuck. I'm gonna say Payton Talbott by knockout in the first. I don't know why. I was gonna go for the second round, but I'm thinking now he's gonna want to make a statement. He's gonna come out here and fucking run through Yanis. Give me Payton Talbott by knockout in the first. I think he's gonna come in here, show up, show out, put on a show, shut this guy's lights out in a fucking round. Give me Payton Talbott by knockout in the first. Of course, the lock of the night. Who the fuck else could it be? Dude's fucking minus 16,000, almost fucking minus 2,000 on some bookies. This guy is the future. 25 years old. Payton fucking Talbott is that thing. Payton Talbott by knockout in the first. Simple as that. To talk about a fight that's not very simple because I have no idea what's going to happen in this fight. Definitely one of the hardest fights to predict on a card. This and Ricky Simón are probably the two toughest in my opinion. No, well, I'm lying. They're the top 3 toughest and they're not one. As we had, but to talk about this one, I'll get to the hardest fight to predict on the card later. As in this one, we head to featherweight for a very fun fight, but a very hard fight to predict between Charles Jourdain versus Jean Lord Assassin Silva. Very good fight here in the featherweight division, as you would expect when you see Charles Jourdain on the card, and this should be a fun fight, very hard fight to predict. Got two very decent fighters here, and let's see what happens. Let's begin with Mr. Jourdain himself. Let's do it. Jourdain in the UFC is 6-6-1. To his wins are Duho Choi, Marcelo Rojo, Andrei Yule, Lando Venata, Kron Gracie, and Ricardo Ramos. His losses are Des Green, Andre Fili, Julian Rosa, Shane Burgos, Nathaniel Wood, and Sean Woodson. Jourdain's a good fighter sometimes, and he's a shit fighter other times. He's looked amazing in fights, like the Yule fight, like the Kron Gracie fight, like the Ricardo Ramos fight. But he's also looked pure dog shit in fights like the Nathaniel Wood and Sean Woodson fights, and I get those are against very good fighters, but still, in the Sean Woodson fight, that being a split decision is fucking criminal. He lost this fight because he fought stupid. He tried to have a striking match with Sean Woodson, who was way bigger than him, and that went as you expected. Like, Jourdain just can't fight consistently. And that's one of the most annoying things with him, because he has a lot of talent. When this dude is on his game, you have great performances, like Duho Choi, like Andre Yule, like Kron Gracie. But when he's fucking not fighting at his best, you have shitty performances like fucking Nathaniel Wood and Sean Woodson. So, and he can't really get that statement win. Outside of Duho Choi, which he is a big underdog and all that, Like, he can't get that statement win. All his wins are against pretty shitty fighters. Rojo, Yule, Ramos, Gracie. Like, he can't get that statement win. This would be a big win for him. To knock off a very hyped up prospect like Gene, it'd be a nice win. But can he show up to this fight and fucking actually do it? That's a different problem, and that's a different question. And he's only 28 years old. I thought he was like 31. He's only 28, and he's just really weird. He can't fight at a consistent rate, and it's very annoying after a while. Like, he's really one of those guys who's just hot and cold. One night he'll look like he can't fucking lose, and the next night it looks like he can't win. So, and like, he's not bad. He's not a bad fighter. His striking is very good. His ground game is not bad. His cardio is not bad. He's a very well-rounded fighter at times. But it's at times he can't strike for shit, he has no ground game, and he gasses. So it's like, what the fuck? And I like Jourdain. I'm a big fan of Jourdain. I think he's a very fun fighter, he seems like a cool dude. But he can't fucking show up consistently to a fight, and that's why he is 6-6 in the UFC. That's why he can't win a big fight. That's why he's fucking... He's always been a dude we know of, and he has the talent, but he can never make that jump into that fucking talent pool of the higher echelon. So, this is a big fight for him, would be a big win for him. He does not need to go on another 2-fight losing streak, but you never know with Jourdain, man. 6-6, can he get above 500, or does he go below 500? Gonna find the fuck out Saturday, man. Kinda needs this win to an extent. Hopefully he can show up. To talk about the opponent, Gene Silva. Gene in the UFC is 1-0 coming off Contender Series, where he looked very underwhelming in my opinion. I don't think he under contract, but whatever. And then in his UFC debut, he ran through Weston Wilson in about 4 minutes, as you should. Not really much to say about his UFC debut. It was Weston Wilson. Gene is still not a dude I'm completely sold on. He's okay, but like, I've not been sold on him yet. I was not impressed with the Contender Series, where he beat up a fucking can. I was not impressed from knocking out Weston Wilson, because it's Weston Wilson. I've just not been impressed with Gene yet. This could be that time he impresses me. I think he's going to be impressive when he beats William Gomez, but that fight got cancelled. Now he has a chance to get a big win against Charles Jourdain. Let's see if he can do it. Dude's 27 years old from the Fighting Nerds, a very respected gym at this point, which has just produced a bunch of fucking talent. Like, the fucking Fighting Nerds is just pushing out talent like it's nothing at this point. So, can he be another one? They got Kyle Borrello, they got Rufy, they got fucking Carlos Prates. Can they add another really nice fighter to that list? We're gonna find the fuck out. Again, I'm just not impressed with Gene Silva right now. I've not been impressed with 2 fights of his I've seen, and he has a big chance to shut me up the Saturday night, so gonna see if he can do it. The Bang After's fight had Charles Jourdain a slight favorite at -130 to +110. I disagree. I would have it a pick'em. I have it to pick him for the reasons of, on one side it's a guy who's very talented but you can't trust, and on the other side it's a guy who's not proven himself. So it's a kind of a 50-50 fight. If you tell me Jourdain's coming into this fight fighting at his best, gonna be the best Jourdain possible, I'm gonna say he wins this fight easily. I think he's better than Gene Silva. But if you're telling me we're getting a 50-50 chance on that, I'm saying this fight should be a pick'em. Because Jourdain's untrustworthy, but Gene Silva ain't proven. Flip a coin and pray. I think this is gonna be a good fight. That's the one thing I've not said. I do think this is gonna be a good fight. Jourdain is not known for having boring fights outside the Kron Gracie fight, but it was Kron Gracie. And Gene Silva throws everything with a lot of power and does not give a fuck. So this fight has banger written all over it. It's just who's gonna be getting their hand raised in the end of it. We're gonna have to wait and see. Who am I leaning with? I'm gonna lean with Charles Jourdain, the veteran, more experienced, better fighter when he's at his best. I'm gonna lean Jourdain. Am I confident? God, no. But I think he's the better fighter, and if he shows up at his best in this fight, he should win. I think my biggest worry with this fight is him getting chin checked, getting that fucking chin knocked out. But has he ever been finished like that? I don't remember Jourdain ever getting KO'd like that. No, he's never been KO'd, and he's only been submitted once. So he's only been submitted one time in the UFC, and that was Julian Erosa, who Gene Silva's not Julian Erosa, especially on the ground. Yeah, Silva's a knockout artist. That's what he likes to do. So Jourdain can evade that power, fight at range. He is the bigger guy a little bit. 2 inches taller and same reach. I think Jourdain can win this. Use his veteranship and probably win this fight. So again, should be a pick'em. I don't trust either, but I'm gonna lean Charles Jourdain to get a win here. Far from confident. Let's see what happens. Give me Charles Jourdain by decision. Let's see what happens. Simplest way I could put it. After that, we head to another banger in the featherweight division, this time between two veterans, and I think we both know these two very well, so I'm not going to waste a lot of time breaking down this fight, because I think we already know what's going to happen. We already know these two very well in this fight, so let's just get right into it. As in our co-main of the prelims, we have a banger between two heavily tattooed men called Killer Cub Swanson versus Andrei Touchy Fili. Very good fight here. If you know both guys, as I think most people do, you know this is a great fight. And they have two very fun fighters. Fun fucking fight, man. Can't wait. Let's get right into it. With another legend on this card, Killer Cub. Cub in the UFC is 14-9. I don't need to tell you about Cub Swanson's UFC career. You know about Cub Swanson's UFC career. Dude has fought everyone. Dude has done a lot. Still fighting at a decent level. He lost the Hakeem Dawodu fight, but he looked okay. He's very old though. He is 40, and he doesn't need to retire at this point. But he's still kicking. He's still kicking. He's still able to beat shitty fighters like Kron Gracie, Pineda, and Darren Elkins. But those are bottom of the barrel fighters. So he's not really got a good win since like 2016 when he beat Duo Choi. So we'll see. Not very much. We know what we're getting with Cub. He's gonna go forward. Fucking, he can strike. His ground game. He has a little bit of a ground game. It's not very good though. It's mainly just striking and fucking. See what happens. We know he can't defend leg kicks. We know his chin's not the strongest anymore. But that's Killer Cub, man. They don't call him Killer Cub for no reason. To talk about his opponent, Andrei Fili. Again, another veteran of the game at this point. At 34 years old, we've all seen Andrei Fili fight by now, or at least the highlight. He is 11-10-1 in the UFC. Has won a lot of fights, has lost a lot of fights. His most notable wins are Artem Lobov, Dennis Bermudez, Miles Jury, Charles Jourdain, Bill Algeo, and Luke Salmeda. And he's lost to the best of the best. A lot of the best fighters. He's lost to Max Holloway, Yair Rodriguez, Calvin Kattar, Michael Johnson, Sadiq Youssef, Bryce Mitchell, Jorgensen Brito, Nathaniel Wood, Dan Ige. He's lost to a lot, like, outside of Godefio Pepe, you can name every guy he's lost to. So Fili's one of those guys. He's never. This is a battle. This is a fight between two dudes who have never had a boring fight. Cub Swanson never has a boring fight. Andrei Fili never has a boring fight. Fuck, this is a borderline BMF fight. Like, these are two dudes who have had many great fights, many great moments, and are going to continue to have great moments. At least Fili, Cub's kind of old, and this is a banger. This is literally a fan-friendly fight if I've ever seen one, and that's coming on this card, which has a couple of those. So this is a great fight. I cannot wait for this fight, and beautiful matchmaking from the UFC, putting two fun fighters in a fight. Two dudes who have not had the best of luck as of late. Two guys who don't have strong chins, don't fucking fight very smart, and are just gonna go out there and have a banger. I love it. Can't wait. The bang odds for this fight, I have Andrei Fili minus 190 to plus 160. I agree. You could have Fili to minus 195 even. I don't know if 200 it is Andrei Fili. He's not the smartest fighter in the world, and his chin is very weak. But in this fight against a 40-year-old Cub Swanson, I don't mind him almost minus 200. Yes, Andrei Fili should win this fight. It's not a hard fight. It should not be a hard fight for Fili. He's 6 years younger. He's the better striker at this point in their career. He has the kick advantage, which Cub Swanson's had a lot of problems with kicks in his last couple fights. He's taken a lot less damage than Cub, which is rare to say for Andrei Fili. He's taken less damage, and I think he's a better fighter at this point in their careers, which I think is the biggest factor. So Fili should win this, unless he gets clipped with something. I don't see Fili losing this fight. I think it's probably going to be a great fight, especially early. Round 1 is going to be great, but I really think Fili might take over in the second, third round. Just he's 6 years younger. He's the better fighter in 2024, and he should be able to beat Cub Swanson here. So I just think he's a better fighter. Younger, better, faster, simple. So my pick is going to be Andrei Fili by, I think, decision. Would I be shocked if he finishes Cub? No. He is taller by a couple inches, and he has a 4-inch reach advantage, so that's another big factor. On the ground, I think he might even be better, but I don't think we're really going to see the ground game much unless someone gets dropped, which is very likely. So, yeah, this is going to be a great fight, and, sorry, Cub. A couple years ago, even, 5 years ago, Cub Swanson, this would be a lot different conversation, but 40-year-old 2024 Cub Swanson, the conversation we're having is how badly does he lose. So I'm gonna go Andrei Fili by decision. If we got a finish, I would not be very shocked. I would not be shocked at a second or third round finish for Andrei Fili, but I feel like he's going to just piece up Cub for 15 minutes and get a win. So give me Andrei Fili by decision. Should be a really fun fight between two fighters that's never had a boring fight. And now time finally for our featured prelim, an hour in. That's how good these prelims are. I could talk about them for an hour. As we head up to middleweight for a very intriguing fight. Not a good one, because I don't really like either of these guys. I think they both kind of suck. But for a intriguing fight nonetheless. At middleweight we have Joe Bodybags Pyfer versus Powerbar Marc-André Barriault. Not a very good fight. Intriguing, kind of, to see what happens, but not very good. Two pretty bad fighters, and pretty weak way to close the prelims. I think a lot of the prelims are better than this fight. Talbott, Fili, Jourdain, fucking Ricky Simón. This should be on the early prelims, but Dana White fucking loves Joe Pyfer for no reason, so whatever. Let's talk about Pyfer first. Pyfer in the UFC is 3-1, coming off the Contender Series, where he did get a contract. In his first 3 UFC fights, he ran through Alan Armadovsky, GM3, and Abdulrazak Al-Hassan. He looked great in those fights, but those were layups. And then in his first real UFC fight, he got completely fraud checked by Jack Hermanson. Yeah. Pyfer is a terrible fighter. He's a maybe 2 rounds at best fighter who is going to knock you out or you're going to beat him. He's not a good fighter, and yeah, he's a complete fraud. So he got kind of embarrassed by Jack Hermanson, of all people, really. And yeah, he's just not very good. He has a lot of power in his hands. About it, to be honest with you. Not even fucking being funny. So about all I can fucking say. He's not very good. He's a complete fraud. To talk about his opponent, Marc-André Barriault. Barriault in the UFC is 5-6-1. His wins are Abu Azaitar, Dolce Lungambula, Jordan Wright, Julian Marquez, and Eric Anders. He has lost to Andrew Sanchez, Christoph Jocko, Jung Young Park, Chudian Jokawani, and Fluffy Hernandez, and Chris Curtis. And he's kind of like a... How would I describe Marc-André Barriault? He's kind of like shitty tall Marab. There's when he's had those fights where he fucking starts slow but really turns up late. Power bar, coincidentally enough. But then he has fights like the Curtis fight where he never got going, or the Fluffy fight where he got thrown around. So, and he is 34 years old, he's taken a lot of damage. He's not a good fighter. He's a decent grappler, I guess, but he's not a good fighter. And if you look at the guys he's beat, who's his best win? Julian Marquez? Eric Anders? Like, Abuzaitar is garbage. Dolce Lungambula is garbage. Jordan Wright's garbage. Julian Marquez is pretty trash. And Eric Anders is Eric Anders. So, and every time he's fought anyone even halfway decent, he's lost. Like, you're losing to Jotko, Andrew Sanchez, and Chris Curtis. Come on, dude. Again, 34 years old. He's just not a great fighter. Not even a good one. His striking is not great. He has a little power in his hands, I guess, but not a lot. Mainly, it's just his grappling. He has really good wrestling. He has a halfway decent gas tank sometimes. He's a very just subpar fighter. Never really seen much in Barriault. So, yeah. The betting odds for this fight have Joe Pyfer minus 265 plus 210. Yeah, kind of hard to disagree. This is just a fucking layup fight for Pyfer. Like, I don't even need to lie. Like, if you want to go by logic, Barriault's just a shittier Jack Hermanson, so he should win. I get it. I wish I could agree and go with that, but I'm not going to. I considered picking Barriault and getting the pick wrong just because Joe Pyfer sucks. But what do I get out of that? It's kind of like Kelvin Gastelum and D-Rod last week. I wanted to pick D-Rod, but do I really care about getting a pick wrong that badly? No, I don't care. I don't hate him that much. I'd rather get the easy pick right than get a pick wrong for no fucking reason. So, give me Joe Pyfer by knockout in the first. He should be able to clip Barriault pretty easily. Barriault's not good on the feet, and Pyfer should be able to get him pretty easily. He 10 times better striker than Barriault, and stuff to take down than KO, and you did it against GM3, you should do it here. So, just a showcase fight for Pyfer, even though the showcase got closed a couple months ago. So, not gonna say much, not worth getting a pick wrong, so let me just get the easy one right. Joe Pyfer by knockout in the first. Pretty fucking simple. So those are the prelims. What an amazing prelims. Like, it took me an hour to talk about all of them because they're that good. And I didn't want to skip over any of them really because they're that good. So, amazing fucking prelims. The early prelims are great. The main prelims are great. It's like, can't wait. Like, you on one prelims, you have Ricky Simón, Vinicius Oliveira, Andrei Arlovski, Payton Talbott, Charles Jourdain, Andrei Fili, Cub Swanson. What the fuck? Like, that's one of the best prelims, like, not counting 300, in a long goddamn time. So, I can't wait. And, we still got this to talk about, so enough fucking rambling. Let's get right into this main card, an hour and 8 minutes in, as we begin with the third best fight on the card, a fucking insane fight that I still can't even believe is happening to an extent, but I can't wait to see as we begin the main card in the welterweight division. Was a fight between the future Ian McCucko Garry versus MVP Michael Venom Page. What a fight. Do I need to tell you this fight's great? No. Am I still going to tell you this fight's great? Yes, this fight is great. Just wow. Wow. Let's talk about Cuckboy. To open the main card, let's talk about Cuckboy. Ian Garry in the UFC is 7-0. He's not coming off a contender series. He came straight from Cage Warriors. And in his 7 wins, he has beat Jordan Williams, Darian Weeks, Gabe Green, Kanan Song, D-Rod, Neil Magny, and Geoff Neal. Those last 2 performances have been pretty underwhelming. Yeah, he embarrassed Magny, but it wasn't a great performance. Yeah, he beat Neal, but he pretty much just ran away for 15 minutes. He's like, these 5 fights, he looked, well, the D-Rod fight was the fight I was like, okay, this kid's legit. And then he's had 2 pretty disappointing fights. Like, I've been taking the fighter away from the person for a second. Ian Garry has talent. The kid's not terrible. His striking is decent. He has decent power. He has good counters. But his last 2 fights, he just fought stupid. Or, like, pussy. He didn't even try and get a finish against Neil Magny. And he ran away from Geoff Neal for 15 minutes. So, the kid has potential. He's only, 26? He's only 26 years old. Has talent. He's not a bad fighter. He's just fighting stupid. Or fucking scared. So, he's not going to be able to do that this week. I can almost tell you that right now. He's not going to get that fucking pleasure this week to run away for 15 minutes. I can almost tell you that right now. So, see if he can live up to a real challenge. Because he is fighting the infamous, the entertaining, the amazing Michael Venom Page. MVP is 1-0 in the UFC. We all saw his UFC debut where he completely just styled on Kevin Holland for 15 minutes. He could have not had a better debut. Unless he got a knockout, he could have not had a better debut. He made Kevin Holland look like a fucking amateur. And that says a lot, because Kevin Holland's a great fighter. So, he made Kevin Holland look like a fucking joke. So, what can I say about MVP that's not been said? The most unorthodox fighter in MMA history. He did come to the UFC pretty late into his career, but at 37 years old, he's still fighting at a very high level. And, he's still as fast as he was in 10 years ago. He's still as good as he was, still got as much power. Dude still got it, and he's here to prove a point. He's here to prove that his career was not a waste of time. He's here to prove that he still has what it takes to be a top fighter, and a win here would prove that tenfold. So, let's see if he can do it. The betting odds are getting close to a pick'em. Ian Garry a tiny favorite, but not by much. I think it should be a pick'em. I don't really want to lean either way, not picking wise, odds wise, because I really don't think that makes a lot of sense. I think this is a weird fight to predict. Of course, I'm biased. I hope MVP fucking kills this loser, but honestly, it's gonna be interesting. I think MVP is the better fighter. He's much bigger. Oh no, he's not. He has a much bigger reach advantage. But okay. Of course, I think Ian Garry's best way of winning this fight, and maybe the only way of winning this fight, is takedowns, which that's not really his bag. Yeah, he trains at shoot box, but that's not his fucking bag. His bag is not fucking takedowns. His bag is countering, striking, Connor shit. So, if he tries to do that Connor striking shit, if he tries to strike in general against MVP, he's getting knocked the fuck out. Ian Garry's best chance of winning this fight is takedowns. If he starts shooting takedowns, we're in for an interesting fight. But if he stays on the feet and strikes, he's going to get fucking embarrassed. So, let's see what happens. I'm going MVP by knockout in the first. I hope he fucking kills Ian Garry, because Ian's a fucking cuck loser who's married to a bitch. Whore. I don't think I could. I had more words lined up, but I don't know if I can actually say those on YouTube. So I'm not going to say them. But what I will say is MVP, put the cuck in the dirt. MVP by knockout in the first, please, please MVP, save us. After that, we head to our second fight of the night in the women's bantamweight division. Second fight of the main card, my bad. In the women's bantamweight division. Yes, a terrible fight for a pay-per-view, but it does have some importance in the women's bantamweight division as we head into Mayra Shitara Bueno Silva versus Macy Chiasson. This is going to be an interesting fight. Grappler versus grappler, so that good chance this turns into a striking match. And if it does, I'm intrigued. If it doesn't, I'm intrigued to see how they do on the ground. I think this is an intriguing fight. Again, is it a pay-per-view level fight? Fuck no. But am I buying the pay-per-view? Fuck no, so I don't care. Plus, we have 3 amazing fights around it, so I think I think I'm okay. I can take the bullet of this fight and the next fight if we get the 3 bangers around it. So yeah, I'm not gonna cry that much. So let's just get right into it with Mayra Bueno Silva. Mayra in the UFC is 5-3-1-1, really 6-3-1. Her wins are Julian Robertson, Maria Borrelia, Yanan Wu, Stephanie Egger, Lena Landsberg, and Holly Holm. Her losses are Maria Morozov, Manon Fierro, and Raquel Pennington. Mayra is a weird fighter. She did kind of get exposed in her last fight against Rocky for being pretty much a 2-round fighter at best. She has no striking, she has no cardio. She kind of just relies on catching you in a submission, which is not very smart, but that is kind of like Julian Robertson to an extent. So it makes a lot of sense that she did beat Julian Robertson. I don't know. She's like, in 6 months, do I think she's improved her game that much to fix all the problems she had against Raquel? No. Like, do I think she has any striking now? No. Do I think she has a gas tank now? No. Do I think I think she is. I think one of her biggest problems in that fight is she was so cocky, so I do think that's a little bit of an improvement. And I've not heard any interview fucking points, because I'm not looking at Mayra Bueno Silva interviews, but I've not heard anything about her being cocky as shit, because that was her main problem. I think one of her main problems in that fight, she was way too high on herself before she even won the damn belt. So that's definitely not a good thing, but now getting humbled could be good or bad for her. And now she has the opportunity to bounce back in a big way against a very talented Macy Chiasson. So we'll see what happens. She's only 32 years old. She still has a lot of time to improve, but has she improved enough to get back on the horse and get back in title fights? We'll have to wait and see. Striking, cardio, anything and besides just catching someone in a submission, can she do it? Well, Chiasson, Macy in the UFC is 7-3. Her wins are Penny Kianzad, Gina Mazzani, Sarah Moraz, Shanna Young, Marion Renault, Norma Dumont, and Penny Kianzad again. Her only losses are Lena Landsberg, Raquel Pennington, and Irene Aldana. Macy's a very good fighter. It's kind of a shame she's not got to fight a lot lately. Like a 2-year layoff in between her Irene and Kianzad fights, not very great, but shit happens. She's only 32 years old. She has talent. She has a lot of talent. And in a division that is as fucking dry as women's bantamweight, you don't need a lot of talent. Raquel Pennington's your champion. She's very tall for the weight class, almost 6 feet tall. She just seems like she is able to make the 135 weight now. She did in her last fight. Let's see if she can do it again tomorrow, or today, I guess, since it's coming out on Friday. Her striking is not great, but it's passable. Her ground game's where it's at, especially being so long. That's definitely her strong suit. So Chiasson's not bad, man. She's not a bad fighter. Really turned a lot of heads in her last fight against Kianzad, at least mine. And fuck, she's winning that Irene Aldana fight before that liver kick. So we'll take that as you will. She's not a bad fighter. And we're going to see what she can do here in a ginormous fight for her second fight on pay-per-view. She lost the first one to Irene. She ain't fighting Irene Aldana this time. See what she can do. Chiasson trying to make it 2 in a row, and it would be a big 2 in a row if she can. The bang out first fight have Mayra Bueno Silva minus 190 to plus 160. I think that's insane. I don't know what the fuck people are seeing there. I would have it. Do I have it a pick'em? Do I have it a pick'em? Yeah, probably. I think this fight kind of comes down to where does this fight take place? If this turns into a striking match, since it's grappler versus grappler, I think Chiasson's better on the feet. She is much taller. She is much fucking taller, Jesus, with a ginormous reach advantage, and I think better striking, better cardio. I think if it's a striking match, Chiasson should win. If it goes to the ground, I think it might depend on who gets the better fucking positioning, who can get lucky enough on a position in general. I think it's gonna just come down to who can get, especially in round 1 with Mayra, when Mayra is non-wise. So, gonna be interesting, gonna be very intriguing. I'm leaning the underdog. I'm leaning Chiasson. I think she can win this fight. I think in round 1, if she plays it safe, maybe lets Mayra gas herself out a little bit, going for a submission or some getting good takedowns, some bullshit like that. I think that'd be smart. But then I think round 2 is when Chiasson can really turn it on, and I think she might. And if it's a striking match, again, I think Chiasson's better. So a lot of signs are pointing to Chiasson winning this fight, in my opinion. We'll see if she can. So I'm going to go with Macy Chiasson by submission in the second. I think she can catch Mayra, especially if Mayra's tired. Chiasson might even get a TKO. Has Chiasson got any TKOs in the UFC? Or in general? She has 2 TKOs over Sarah and Gina Mazzani, so I would not even be shocked at a TKO. But I'm leaning Macy Chiasson by submission in the second. I think she might be able to maybe get on Mayra's back when she's tired, or lock up an armbar, or even a TKO. Or I could see a ground and pound TKO. So I just think Chiasson's the better fighter. I think that's as simple as I know. That's kind of fucking a broad term at this point, but I think Chiasson's the better fighter. On the feet, I think she is. On the ground, we're gonna see. She's taller. I just think better. She's better striker, better conditioning. I think she's better. So giving Macy Chiasson by submission in the second. I think the better fighter will win this one. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. Gonna have to wait and see. Chiasson submission in a second. After that, we head to our third fight of the main card, a fight that has changed a couple times since the original one was booked. Now I'll get to that in 1 second. But let's get to our third fight of the night of the main card in the light heavyweight division between Anthony Lionheart Smith versus Roman the Caucasian. I might be saying that wrong. I've been recording for an hour and 22 minutes. I'm not trying to read everything perfectly. Dolidze. So this fight was originally meant to be in the first fucking when it was first made, Jamal Hill versus Khalil Roundtree. Then it turned into Jamal Hill versus Carlos Alberg. Then it turned into Carlos Alberg versus Anthony Smith. Now it's Anthony Smith versus Roman Dolidze. How did it get worse? Every fucking time it was fucking booked. It started off great. Good. Okay. Now it's trash. This fight fucking sucks. Maybe it's just me. I think this fight's fucking terrible. I'm not looking forward to this at all. 2 shitty 35-year-olds. Can't wait. Let's get into it. Not gonna say much about Anthony Smith because it's Anthony Smith. I think we all know Anthony Smith by now. He is 13-9 in the UFC, and I may just talk about his last fight where he did get the upset over Vitor Petrino, fraud checking him pretty badly. He still has some juice left in the tank, not a lot. He's not a good fighter. He never was, and he still ain't. But he can still lock up a guillotine. He can still do a couple things. He's not completely gone yet, but yeah, he's lucky he's not fighting Carlos Alberg. I'll say that much. Alberg would have fucking murdered him. But he's lucky he's fighting Roman Dolidze, because I don't think he got much to worry about. So Anthony Smith, 35 years old. Can he make it 2 in a row? His first winning streak since 2021? Well, let's find out. We know we're getting with Anthony Smith. He can kind of strike. He can kind of grapple. He's tough, quote, quote. Anthony Smith's the greatest fighter ever on paper. To talk about his opponent, Roman Dolidze. Roman in the UFC is 6-3. His wins are Kaidis, not gonna try that shit. Josh Allen, John Allen, Leonardo Starpoli, Kyle Dawkins, Phil Halls, and Jack Hermanson. His 3 losses are Trevin Giles, Marvin Vettori and Nasruddin Imavov. This is his first fight up at light heavyweight because he is stepping in on a week notice for Carlos Alberg, obviously. Yeah, Dolidze, not a good fighter. Never has been. Like, one of your best wins, Jack Hermanson, by pure fluke, in my opinion. That says a lot. In his last 2 fights, he's got beat up by Vettori and got beat pretty badly by Nasruddin Imavov. Not got a lot of time, has not had a lot of time off since that fight, and now he's stepping in on short notice up a weight class, so we'll see what happens there. He's just not a good fighter. Never been impressed with Dolidze, and now he's 35 years old, needing a win up a weight class on short notice. Not a lot of fucking good things I'm seeing, so yeah. Tapology does not have the betting odds up yet for this fight, but Dolidze is like a small favorite, I think at like minus 140, which I think is insane. This is the first time on this card I think I really disagree with the odds, because I would have Anthony Smith the favorite. I would have Smith at like minus 150, 160. I think Smith is the better fighter. I think Smith is he is the more experienced fighter. He's the bigger fighter. Like, yeah, he's taken a lot more damage, but I think he's better than Dolidze. On the feet, I don't think he's much worse. I think Dolidze has a power advantage, but I don't think much else. On the ground, I think Anthony Smith has the advantage. I think Smith's the smarter fighter at times, so I just think Smith is better. Simple as that. So, when I saw this fight get made, I thought it sucked, and I still do. And also, when I saw this fight get made, I was like, oh, well, I'm picking Anthony Smith to win a fight in 2024. I don't like it either, but I'm going Anthony Smith here. I don't see why he's the underdog. Unless he gets knocked out, which I guess is a possibility. I think fucking he should win this fight pretty soundly. Probably not a fun fight. 29-28 Smith, probably. Some shit like that. And, yeah, I'm going to go Anthony Smith by decision. Should not be that scary of a night to go from Carlos Alberg to Roman Dolidze. Anthony Smith is fucking happy. So I'm going Anthony Smith by decision. Don't get why he's the underdog. I think he's the better fighter. On paper, he always is the better fighter. Oh boy! And now time for the co-main event of the evening, the best fight on the card, one of the best fights of the year, and maybe the hardest fight to pick all year, as we have a fucking magnificent, phenomenal, amazing, I could keep going, on a fucking flawless fight in the featherweight division as our co-main event of the evening. A banger does not even describe this fight right. Fight of the year contender, as we have Brian T. City Ortega versus Diego Lopes. What a fucking fight. I'm not gonna say much on this fight because I don't know what to say. I'm gonna sit back and watch this fight as a fan. I'm a fan of both these guys. I've been an Ortega fan for years. I'm a big fan of Diego Lopes. I don't care who wins. I don't know who's gonna win. I have the pick'em fight, and I don't know who's gonna win. This is the first fight where I can't really read it. And I'm not gonna try. I don't want to. I just want to sit back and enjoy this as a fan. Best fight on the card. 10 out of 10 matchmaking. 10 out of 10 saving of this card. UFC, thank you. For this fight alone, let alone Pereira and fucking this and that. Thank you for this fight alone. A fucking instant classic between two amazing, tough fighters. I can't wait. I know anyone with a fucking IQ can't wait for this fight. I'm just gonna sit back, relax, and enjoy it. I think this is a little crazy. Brian Ortega getting KO'd. Ugh. Who am I gonna put my pick in as? Probably Diego Lopes. But do I think he's gonna win? I don't know. I don't care. I'm gonna watch this as a fan and enjoy it. I have barely a pick for this fight. Like I said, I'll probably put my pick in as Diego Lopes. But I don't care. I don't care who wins. I'm a fan of both, so I win either way. Just be a banger. Give us either a highlight reel for the ages or a fucking fight of the year. This probably should be 5 rounds, cause could you imagine? Can't wait. I can't say much else. I cannot fucking wait. Like, I'm more hyped for this than any fight on the card. If you can't tell. Mouth-watering fight. Banger. Okay, I'm gonna stop fucking glazing. Can't wait for this fight. Don't care who wins. Don't really even have a pick. Watch it as a fan. Don't bet on it. Just watch it. I'm one of the best co-mains ever. And now, time for the main event of the evening. A rematch from November last year, as we head to light heavyweight for a championship bout, a championship rematch between Alex Payton Pereira versus Yuri BJP Prochazka. A rematch from UFC 295. A banger in the light heavyweight division. I don't think anyone's upset to see this run back again. Yes, it should be Alex and Goliath, but it was short notice. They had to find a fight quickly. I'm not upset. We get Yuri and Alex again. Can't fucking wait. Let's fucking go. I'm not gonna go in depth on these two. You know Alex Pereira. You know Yuri Prochazka. I don't need to tell you about these guys. You know about these guys. Just let's get into the nitty gritty. Who wins the rematch? The main question I have with this fight is, has Yuri done enough to fix what gave him problems in the first Pereira fight? In my opinion, no. I don't think he has. It's a short notice fight. He only fought 2 months ago. Do I think he's fixed what? The first thing that comes to mind is the leg kick defense. No. Do I think he's fixed his defense in general from the Ratchik fight? No. Yeah, if the Ratchik fight told me anything, this is gonna go almost exactly the same. I don't think Yuri has done enough to fix the problem that Alex gave him. Could Yuri still clip Alex and knock him out? Yes, of course, it's Yuri. But do I think he's going to win a technical battle? Fuck no. That's not Yuri's bag in general. And B, again, I don't think he's done enough to fix the problem that makes it to where he can't do that. So, and Yuri's a great fighter, and I'm happy he fights for the fans. But the way he fights is always going to be a hindrance against a guy like Alex Pereira, who is better. So, like, Yuri can break Alexander Ratchik. He can break Glovstik Sure. He can break Dominic Reyes. You can't break Alex Pereira. And in that first fight, he barely hit Alex. Alex just fought at range, kicked him in the leg, and fucking KO'd him. Yes, it was a shitty stoppage, but still. Can Yuri fucking show he's fixed what? Can he show that the first, like, even though he said he's gonna fight the exact same way, which is a red flag. Because in the first fight, he was getting beat up pretty badly. He ate a lot of leg kicks. He got punched. He got dropped. He got beat up. Does it happen again? We're gonna find the fuck out. The bang odds have Alex Pereira minus 165. Plus 140. It's hard to disagree. What was the first fight's betting odds? I think it was a pick'em. Excuse me. I believe they were a pick'em. Yeah. And they should have been a pick'em in the first fight. Now in a rematch, I would have Pereira minus 170, 175. After that first fight, and especially what they've done since, I don't think Yuri's fixed his holes in his game enough to beat Alex Pereira in a technical battle, or like not counting a fucking Hail Mary crazy shot. Again, he could clip Alex and knock him out. We all know that. But do I think he's going to fucking eat a lot of leg kicks? Yes. Do I think he's probably going to get punched a lot and maybe even dropped? Yes. Like, it's interesting. It's very intriguing, and I'm very excited. I think this is gonna be an amazing fight. It's not going 25 minutes. I don't need to tell you that. It's probably not gonna go fucking 15 minutes. Do I think this goes longer than the first fight? We'll see. I think Yuri might fight a little smarter, or he might fight even dumber. If he fights smarter, that means he's going for takedowns, which I don't think is a bad idea. Do I think it's gonna? Do I think that's Yuri's key to victory? No. Yuri's not a great grappler. Alex is not a terrible grappler. Yuri's best path to victory is a Hail Mary crazy shot like he hit on Reyes, like he fucking hit on Glover. Yes, it was a rear naked choke, but that was a Hail Mary. His best chance of winning is a Hail Mary. Simple. That's what I think. Who am I picking in this fight? I am not picking, the rare time I'm not picking the same person in the rematch as I did in the first fight, because if I'm correct, I picked Yuri in the first fight. I did. This time, I'm going Alex. I think he is the better fighter. I think he's going to use a lot of the same game plan, if not even a smarter one, since he's already been in the cage with Yuri now. I think he's ready to put Yuri out and show that first fight was not a shitty, was not just a shitty stoppage. It's what's gonna happen every time. So I'm gonna go Alex Pereira, the real pound for pound #1 in the world right now, to win again, and I'm gonna go by knockout in the. I'm feeling a third round knockout. I don't know why. I don't think it's gonna be a first round knockout. I don't think it's gonna be a second round knockout. I'm feeling a third round knockout. I don't know why, but I'm feeling Alex by knockout in the third. I think he's going to really fuck up Yuri early, maybe even get dropped. Either one of them might get dropped or both. But I think round 3, Yuri's gonna be very beat up. Alex is gonna be probably beat up a little bit, but not as beat up. I think someone's going to break, and he might not. Yuri might not even break. He might just get broken, KO'd. So, but I'm feeling Alex Pereira by knockout in the third. Maybe though it might be first round, might be second round. You never know if these two could be at any second. But I don't know why I'm feeling a third round knockout. So that's what I'm going to go with. Alex Pereira, and still by knockout in the third. Shama. Boom. Though that's the card, an hour and a half in, over almost an hour and 40 minutes in, to go over my picks one last time. Vinicius Oliveira by knockout in the second, Tsuruya by submission in the first, Buday by knockout in the second, Robertson by submission in the second, by lock of the night, Payton Talbott by knockout in the first, Jourdain by decision, Fili by decision, Pyfer by knockout in the first, MVP by knockout in the first, Macy Chiasson by submission in the second, Anthony Smith by decision. Don't really care who wins this fight, just watch it as a fan. And Alex Pereira by knockout in the first. Bang. What a card. These two bangers, this banger, great prelims. I can't wait. This is going to be an amazing card. One of the best international fight weeks ever. And I cannot fucking wait. We're in for a treat in T-Mobile Arena. It's going to be fun. Let's sit back, relax, and enjoy it. Who cares who wins these fights? Outside of MVP, you better win. And Payton Talbott, you better win. Outside of those two, let's just sit back and watch some great MMA. With some we deserve after some up and down card. Saudi Arabia was good, but this needs to be elite. I want this to rival UFC 300. Do I think it will? It could. I think it definitely could. I don't think we're going to get a moment to the level of Max Holloway, but I might be proven wrong. So, we do got Mayra Bueno Silva versus Macy Chiasson. Well, I'm probably going to get proven wrong. Okay. I'll stop. I'll stop rambling. An hour and 40 minutes in. I'm shocked that I didn't go 2 hours, because this card I can talk about forever. It's that good. But the next time you hear me talk about this card is Sunday, 1 p.m. EST, hopefully, but at least bare minimum it will be Sunday. I don't know when. Again, 1 p.m. EST is always the plan. Usually doesn't work out, but we'll see. But unless I'm going to say something, which I'd be fucking amazed since I've talked for an hour and 40 minutes, only thing I can think left to say is, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, comment, subscribe. 100 subs go by the end of 2024. Thank you again so much for 55 subs. Let's keep growing, my you amazing fucking goats. And unless I'm going to say something, as always, my voice is shot. RX out. Good vibes only and always.